Shalom, shalom, and welcome. Welcome to the White Rose Family Channel. My name is Symmanayah, and if you're tuning in for the first time, these are the words and messages that I am compelled to present before an awakening, set-apart nation. A nation that's commonly known by some as Israel or Yisrael, whom I am compelled to say Yashar'al. To you who are tuning in, you're tuning in for a reason, and I pray that these words contribute towards your journey in pursuing the will of the Almighty Father Yahuah. If you are one who seeks to do his will, if you are one who can identify and embrace the realities of the scriptures, specifically where it says in John 6:44, how the Almighty Father draws us to Yahusha Mashiach. Yahusha is his word. From the virgin birth to walking upon the face of the earth, from the sacrifice to the resurrection, to his spirit sent to us, communicating us to us through his word, which we are to identify as Yahusha. Consider John 14:26, my brothers and sisters. If these words fit you, I welcome you. But before I get into the message of this segment, I want to say this. The views expressed do not necessarily reflect the views of the owners, managers, shareholders, and or sponsors. With that said, this is Bulletin number 7. Bulletin number 7. During times of uncertainty, during times of mixed messages, different interpretations of end times, have we ever considered that one day or someday, there will be individuals that will speak with the precision and the flow of set-apart instructions that will hold true, opposed to just regurgitating things or saying things with no influence of the Spirit of Yahuah moving through them in the name of Yahusha. In other words, my brothers and sisters, in the midst of uncertainty, in the midst of brothers and sisters talking and speaking and sharing scriptures and talking about their interpretations, their opinions, somewhere in the midst of all that we are witnessing are those led by the Spirit of Yahusha to execute judgment, to provide warnings, to implement instructions for these final days. I am compelled to believe in less than 2 years we will see the actions required to confirm that the final exodus will indeed occur before the physical return of Yahusha Mashiach. In this bulletin, I want you to consider praying on the matters regarding these 3 words: examine, test, discover. For in these days of uncertainty and these end times, during these times where there's much confusion, the Almighty Father in his promise of discipline will prove the need for us to know how to examine, how to test, and discover his will for his children. So let us prepare to witness and be a part of the power of belief. Come with me, my brothers and sisters. It's time to embrace what's next. We can talk about belief all day long. To say we believe, does it stop there? Come with me to Hebrews 11th chapter, verse 1 and 2. For they read as follows: "In belief is the substance of what is expected, the proof of what is not seen, for by this the elders obtain witness." Belief. In order to come to a belief, my brothers and sisters, it is necessary for us to learn how to examine a matter, how to test it, and discover whether it's set apart or not. Drop down to the 6th verse. I'm still in the 11th chapter of Hebrews. It is written, without belief it is impossible to please him, for he who comes to the Almighty One has to believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of those who earnestly seek him. Notice that it said, without belief, but it also says to those who earnestly seek him. See, if we seek him and he make himself known, when he make himself known, then we have a duty to test the words, whether it's coming to us in spirit or through another, as he works through a brother or sister to speak to us. We need to put it to the test. Does it line up with the scriptures as they are made alive? And then do we come to the point in our belief where we begin to discover the realities, the proof, the evidence that it is indeed the Almighty Father guiding our footsteps, directing our path? In other words, beyond examining and testing, as we discover, there are things that must be done. Come with me also to James chapter 2, verse 14 through 17. James chapter 2, verse 14 through 17. And as I present this message, I am also recording it on my podcast, End Time Reflections. So it will be in MP3 format if you want to download it and share it with someone without taking up so much memory. James 2, 14 through 17 say, my brothers, what use is it for anyone to say he has belief but does not have works? This belief is unable to save him. But if a brother or sister is naked and in need of daily food, but one of you says to him, go in peace, be warmed and filled, but you do not give them the bodily needs, what use is it? If you do not give him bodily needs, what use is it for you to just say, be warm and filled? So also belief, if it does not have works, is in itself dead. And I say to you, Yashar'al, we can't stop with just saying, I believe. It's not as simple as just saying, I believe. We owe it to ourselves to examine the matter. Examine it thoroughly. And if you are a newborn babe, you're probably on milk, possibly. If you are new to this walk, this step, this awakening, pray and study. And as you study, seek the Almighty Father's direction, and he may guide you to wise counsel, wise leadership. Don't use reasons such as they got good uniforms or they all seem to walk lockstep with one another without knowing how to examine whether they are in pursuit of doing the Almighty Father's will. Don't just follow a leader because he claims he's a pastor and because he built a community or he's been an impetus on multiple communities. Don't follow someone because they are dressed nice, you like the way they're dressed. Let us learn how to vet each and every one of us, one towards another, how to examine and then test, look at the works, look at the fruits. Know what describe the fruits. Fruits are evidence or results that are consistent with one growing in set apartness, growing in righteousness, one that is pursuing the will of the Almighty Father. And we shall, moment by moment, discover the presence of the Almighty Father working in us, through us, one towards another, and through the structures that he's set up. It would be wise to discern what is expected. Now that you believe, Yashar'al, O Yashar'al, end times are here. What say you? Come with me as I continue on the matter of examine, test, discover. Let's consider the life in the following. And you may hear me say this often, my brothers and sisters, the life in. See, people say, show me the script. Show me the script. Show me the scripture. Point to it. I can read. But one of the things we struggle with, my brothers and sisters, due to the conditions that we have faced in our programming, whether it be in the schools, at home, in congregations, in assemblies, in groups, or in family, or other matters, they affect how we comprehend what we read. You can have two or more people read the same thing, each getting something totally different. In some cases, it's possible to get something different, but they join hand in hand. But in some cases, they conflict. And when you see conflict among those who are pursuing set of partners, teaching set of partners, confirming or reaffirming what they believe the scriptures are saying, when you come into conflict, we must ask, is there truth among us? We must know how to examine, test the matter, weigh it, not only against the text we're reading, but we must be mindful that there are other scriptures as well. So many people will say, as it regards to this final Exodus, after reading Isaiah 11:12, that we are all going to be gathered from the four corners of the earth. That's not true. They right away dismiss the scriptures that say some will be martyrs for Yahusha's name. They dismiss the scriptures that say some will be led astray. They dismiss the scriptures that say that there will be a falling away. So in examining, we must not cover up or ignore other scriptures. Even when it comes to judging, there are scriptures that say, judge not, that ye be not judged. There are scriptures that say, don't judge outward appearance. There are scriptures that tell us about judging. And then there are scriptures that say, he that is spiritual judges all things. There are scriptures that tell us that walk filled with the Spirit of the Almighty Father. And it is he working through us that bring judgment. How do you think 1 Peter 4:17 will come to be that speaks of judgment begins at the house of Yahuah first? My brothers and sisters, when I talk about the life in the scriptures, when I say let's consider the life, let's consider what the Spirit have to say regarding what we are reading. We will witness that there is a proving process. The proving process is just putting things to the point where we examine them, we test them, and we discover whether or not it's good or evil. The proving process. Come with me to Matthew chapter 4, verse 7 through 10. It is an example of the Mashiach in the encounter he had with Satan. Matthew 4, 7 through 10 says, Yahusha said to him, it has also been written, you shall not try Yahuah, your Almighty One. What he's saying in this case, he's not saying that you don't test the Spirit or examine the Spirit. He's saying don't try and don't come with foolishness. Don't come with wickedness. Don't come with that hidden agenda. People would say, no, it say do not try. Then they would want to take you into modern Hebrew, maybe even Paleo Hebrew. All of these written languages that we witness on the face of the earth are subjective and requires for us to grow in unity, us to discern the life and what the Spirit of Yahuah wants us to receive from these words. It goes to say, again, the devil took him up on a very high mountain and showed him all the reigns of the world and their esteem, and said to him, all these I shall give you if you fall down and worship me. Then Yahusha said to him, go, Satan, for it has been written, you shall worship Yahuah, your Almighty One, and him alone you shall serve. You see, the enemy knew what was true. What we see in the scriptures is a demonstration of, even though the enemy knows what's true, he will still make attempts to distract and dissuade. Yashar'al, Yashar'al. Through studying, we will learn what is written. We will learn the life in the words. Through sound counsel and leadership and growth and prayer. End times are here, O Yashar'al. Do you know how to examine? Do you know how to test? Do you know how to discover what is indeed true? Come with me to 1 John 4:1-3. For it says, Beloved ones, do not believe every spirit, but prove the spirit, whether they are of the Almighty One, because many false prophets have gone out into the world. By this you know the Spirit of the Almighty One. Every spirit that confesses that Yahusha, Messiah, has come in the flesh is of the Almighty One. And every spirit that does not confess that Yahusha, Messiah, has come in the flesh is not of the Almighty One. My brothers and sisters, bear with me a second. There's some things I need to correct. You know, my brothers and sisters. Okay. When we talk about judgment beginning at the house of Yahuah first, when we speak on these matters, many of us don't ask ourselves, well, what does that mean? What does that pertain to? We jump into situations which we do not understand fully. And as a result of that, my brothers and sisters, comes confusion and argument. Why? Because we haven't examined the matter thoroughly. We haven't looked to see how these matters line up with scriptures. This can be problematic. Another day has come and it's passing even as I speak. But how many of us are just going in circles versus understanding what is necessary to grow in maturity and preparation for what lies ahead? How many of us are just weary? Don't know how to examine a matter. Don't know how to put it to the test. Don't know how to seek scriptures relevant to the challenges we are facing. How many of us, my brothers and sisters, fail to do the work that is required soon and very soon, my brothers and sisters? As we begin to witness corrections, we will see demonstrations of how things are to be as the Almighty Father orders. We will see demonstrations that we can put to the test and discover how we are to govern ourselves. We will see in the coming days wisdom cut through all the uncertainty. Come with me, O Yashar'al. I have mentioned this once and I will bring it up again, and I think it is important that we remember we are instructed to examine all things. It is important that we learn how to examine all things. Let's consider the life in the following. In Philippians chapter 1, verse 7-11, for it reads, is it right for me to think this of you all, because I have you in my heart, all of you being sharers of the favor with me, both in my chains and in the defense and confirmation of the good news. For the Almighty One is my witness, how I long for you all with the affection of Yahusha Messiah. And this I pray, that your love might extend more and more in knowledge and all discernment. Discernment, my brothers and sisters, discernment. True discernment is when the Spirit of Yahusha, the word of Yahuah, make known, uncovers, reveals to us. He said, for you to examine the matters that differ in order to be sincere and not stumbling into the day of Messiah, being filled with the fruit of righteousness through Yahusha Messiah, to the esteem and praise of the Almighty One. We are instructed, O Yashar'al, to examine all things. We must learn what it takes, how to do it, step by step. There are so many brothers and sisters that are moving from camp to camp, community to community, group to group, in search of that right fit, so to speak. Many are stumbling because they are eagerly trying to be a part of something else versus first praying and studying the word and seeking to discern the voice of the Spirit of Yahuah, and then testing that as they meet someone. I've presented on many occasions how, believe it or not, if you look at the 7 major feast days, it's a blueprint for vetting and examining. Passover. Passover was a time of instruction given to Yashar'al, and if they followed those instructions, they lived. Unleavened bread, Feast of Unleavened Bread. It's a time of being able to discern between good and evil. It's a time to come away from the influence of man and seek the influence of Yahuah. First fruits. Some will get it quicker than others. What this means, my brothers and sisters, before we quick to judge, because I've seen mores, teachers, pastors, and leaders misjudge and bear false witness against an obedient one because they did not receive it, because they could not understand it. Some even will grab the scripture, no prophecy of any private interpretation, when they don't understand an obedient one delivering words from the Almighty Father. Yeah, I've seen people say, well, there's no prophecy of any private interpretation. That is true. But it does not mean all prophecy is for interpretation to anyone and everyone, regardless of your level of leadership or not. That's why in examining and testing the matter, we must be precise, lest we bear false witness, which is a violation of one of the commandments. Yashar'al, Yashar'al. The days are here where we must begin to realize, what is it that makes us whole? How do we begin to interpret the scriptures in such a way that we become more united, made more whole? Discipline is a promise. In Hebrews 12th chapter, speaks on discipline. It even says, no discipline for the present seems joyous, but afterwards it yields the peaceable fruit of righteousness to those that are trained by it. Yashar'al, my brother, my sister, hear these words. Each day that we breathe and encounter one another, we must learn how to examine, how to test what we're hearing, how to discover what the Spirit of Yahusha is saying to us. Yes, my brothers and sisters, you hear me say the Spirit of Yahusha because the name Yahusha is the embodiment of Yahuwah's word. He is the word of Yahuah. Yahuah, who is powerful, Spirit everywhere at all times, the beginning and the end. He chose the method to communicate to us. And that communication is through his word. His word. His word is Yahusha. When we say Yahusha, that is the word of Yahuah. They are indeed one. And we will grow to see what happens to those who cannot accept that versus those who yield to that. And some will understand more quickly than others, especially during these end times. Yashar'al, my brothers and sisters, let us remember there are many members in this body, this set-apart family, this awakening set-apart nation, and each have their place. We each have a place, and there are tasks that are ordered, living orders. And some of us don't like the word orders because we've been conditioned to get full of emotions if we don't hear the right words that make us feel good. My brothers and sisters, let us begin to identify the function in living orders. What is expected? What is it that we must do? When? How? There will be times to move and time to be still, time to speak and time to be silent. Come with me, my brothers and sisters. Many members to discover, but each must be placed in a position where we can examine, test, and discover whether they are indeed a brother or a sister. Come with me to 1 Corinthians 12, verse 1 through 11. 1 Corinthians 12, verse 1 through 11. It says, "And concerning spiritual gifts, brothers, I do not wish you to be ignorant. You know that you were nations, led away to dumb idols, even as you might be led. Therefore I make known to you that no one speaking by the Spirit of the Almighty One says Yahusha is accursed. And no one is able to say that Yahusha Master except by the set-apart Spirit. And there are different kinds of gifts, but the same Spirit. There are different kinds of services, but the same Master. There are different kinds of workings, but it's the same Almighty One who is working all in all." I want to pause for a moment, my brothers and sisters. If you're looking at this slide, you will see Yah's Watchman as a website that I set up, but you will also see the Cash App, White Rose Family, the cash tag. And I ask you, are you witnessing words that are fruitful, that benefit? Can you bear witness that there is a final exodus and the need to begin to come together is increasing? I'm taking this pause time to say that the work that I am doing, that the words I present, I ask for your help. Yashar'al, Yashar'al, make known your works, your abilities, your skill sets. Let us discover, let us examine, test, and discover what abilities, what skills do we bring, will we be bringing to a gathering set apart nations. And if you don't know what skills, what strengths, what your calling, what your gift is, have you ever asked, how did I come across the finances that I have? Am I doing everything that is expected of me? And I'm saying that to say, could you help me, oh Yashar'al? Help me in the formulating, the bringing together, the execution of the works, the actions that are required for gathering Yashar'al. I have said on many occasions that I believe that I will be a contributing individual. I will be one of the leaders in the gathering of Yashar'al in the Western Hemisphere. And I ask for your help. Have you received what you received to contribute? And if you do not like using Cash App, White Rose Family, email me. If you have skills and ability for working towards fulfilling the coming together of a set-apart nation, whether it be the four corners of the earth or contributing towards the group that will leave the Western Hemisphere and head to the Promised Land. Soon and very soon, help me, O Yashar'al. I do believe that the Almighty Father harden hearts and soften hearts. I believe opportunities will come and they will go. Decisions will be made. But know this, there are different kinds of workings. But it's the same Almighty One who is working all in all, even for the benefit of fulfilling his promises, his plan. Let me continue. 1 Corinthians 12, 7 through 11. To each one is given the manifestation of the Spirit for profiting. For the one is given a word of wisdom through the Spirit, and another a word of knowledge according to that same Spirit, and to another belief by the same Spirit, and to another gifts of healing by the same Spirit, and to another operations of power, and to another prophecy, and to another discerning of spirits, and to another kinds of tongues, and to another interpretation of tongues. But one and the same Spirit works all these, distributing to each one individually as he intends. Let us remember, there are many members of Yashar'al. There is work to be done. And we must, and we will. Those who will be contributing to the proof of the plan of the Almighty Father coming to reality before our very eyes will know how to examine, how to test, will discover, will learn how to confirm and reaffirm, will learn how to execute judgment necessary for coming together and judgment necessary for purging. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al, what say you, my brothers and sisters? Come, let us engage in conversation. Let us be as iron sharpening iron. Now, unfruitful and wicked conversation, there's a difference between that and iron sharpening iron. So many people are quick to say you cause confusion, you're bringing division, without examining, testing. Does this line up with the word? Could these individuals be bringing judgment from the Almighty Father to sharpen us, to strengthen us? Or are they causing unfruitful conflict? And the only way to know that is to examine, to test, to see what it is the Almighty Father wants us to discover. And we will learn how this process works as the days draw closer and closer to coming together in unity. My brothers and sisters, we will grow to see why these words are important. Examine, test, discover. We will learn that there's so many details, there's so much work, there's so many processes bringing together the members of a set-apart body together to fulfill the final exodus, and so much more, to strengthen and prepare us to have the fortitude, the courage to die for Yahusha's name. A lot is over the horizon of Yashar'al, and to those of us that have breath, let us learn to pray for one another and engage one another in manners that strengthen each other. Soon and very soon, O Yashar'al, forced movement will become something that is widespread and intense. And I mention this often. I've done a series called The Closing Scroll. It describes how forced movement will gradually force the set-apart children of Yashar'al together, as well as force those of the one world government, the wicked ones that will ultimately go to fight against Yashar'al, back to the region where life began. And there appears to be some confusion and division of where is the promised land. Soon and very soon, O Yashar'al, proof will come. We will understand where the promised land is. We will understand what is expected of us. Soon and very soon, obstacles will be removed. Some leaders, some influential individuals will face sickness even unto death, because they want to hold on to their own hidden agenda. They want you to follow them in their own blindness. Some will face extreme humbling times where we will discover that it's time for them to relinquish their leadership and step back. And they will be reproved and placed in a position where they're supposed to be. And some will face the corrections and be strong enough, humble enough to say, I was wrong. They will discover some things in people, brothers and sisters, that are bringing words, living orders from the Almighty Father. And we will see some leaders rise up stronger than ever before. The spectrum is wide. The focus will be narrowed to set apartness, to bring about the results of this final exodus. Details from transportation to intermittent stops, to resources, supplies, to how to communicate, how to govern ourselves or be governed day by day as we draw closer and closer. Less than 2 years, things will ramp up. Look around you. How much proof do you need? What signs do you need? What are you doing, O Yashar'al? Come, let us speak on these matters. Let us begin to take charge of these earthen vessels as the Almighty Father is directing us, and witness what it is to come together in a love that's so powerful. We protect the interests of the Almighty Father's anointed ones. We protect the interests of one another as we seek to serve and worship and obey the Almighty Father. Not self-interest, not the interest of Hashatan or the interest of the flesh. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al. If you don't know how to examine, if you don't know how to test, how do you think you're going to be able to discover what is right or wrong? But there are ways and manners and methods by studying and seeking the Spirit of the Almighty Father in Yahusha's name. The time is now. And I know this message has been very redundant, but to those who have listened to the end, I salute you, your patience, your tolerance. For I am compelled to present what I've done and what I will do to bring about expectations of what to see, for you to examine my words, to test these words, for you to discover whether these words have any significance. What say you, O Yashar'al? Let us get to know one another. Let us draw closer to one another as the Almighty Father draws us to set apartness. On that note, be encouraged. My prayer is with you. I pray that you are of good health. I pray that you are of sound mind, body. I pray that your spirit is being strengthened with each day that comes, that we move beyond just going in circles, that we move to the point where each day we can say, what did I learn today? I can truly say, O Yashar'al, each day I wake up with something that the Spirit of Yahuah has given me, that stirs within me. Let me know that he's still there, that strengthens me, that encourages me. And I want you to have that same experience or better. I want you to know that your cup is overflowing. I want you to know that the Spirit of Yahuah, sent in Yahusha's name, brings about an unquenchable thirst and brings about flowing water, his word, that lets us know we're not alone. Enough said, my brothers and sisters. It's time to know how to examine, test, and discover what is indeed set apart. On that note, I say to you, thank you for your tolerance. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for pursuing the will of the Almighty Father Yahuah. In the name of Yahusha, I come to you. My name is Symmanayah again, and I say thank you and Shalum. Shalom, my brothers, my sister, my family.